Hi, this is John Hand, and the Pulsing Cinema movie of the day is John Carpenter's first feature film, Dark Star. A film he made in film school, just out of film school. Well, while he was in film school, they started making it and then released it as an actual real-life theatrical film. Jack Harris picked it up. John Carpenter, in collaboration with his film school buddy Dan O'Bannon, who went on to write Alien. Dark Star is one of my favorite films. I saw it in 35mm actually many moons ago here at the Draft House. It's just a great low-budget science fiction comedy with some surprisingly good special effects. Dan O'Bannon, and some surprisingly goofy special effects. I mean, there's a lot of things where you've got drinking cups spray painted white. Glued to cardboard, and now you have your spacesuit. You have an alien that's basically a beach ball that looks so hokey and crappy. Inspired Dan O'Bannon to write Alien later on. You have like truckers in space. This is one of the first films to have kind of like truckers in space. Very much like Alien would later on go to do. These guys that are in their jumpsuits and they're kind of like NASA-esque, but they're also kind of like blue-collar workers and they're just doing their gig in space. In the case of Dan O'Bannon's character, he was just an engineer, a flight crew worker, and he put himself in the suit and is just on this journey by accident. Dark Star is a spaceship in outer space, and they're tasked with going around and blowing up rogue planets, and so they have all these nuclear bombs in their spaceship, and they and it's just their life. They get into a number of scrapes, and then they eventually meet a rather bad end when they're not able to talk when their bombs out of exploding in the cargo bay. Spoiler. But I mean, the movie is much more than that. I mean, it's a space film. It's a science fiction film. It's a pre Star Wars, which Dan O'Bannon, by the way, did work on. He did some of the overlays and things for Star Wars: A New Hope, some of the visual effects stuff, and then post 2001. So again, you had that big innovation in special effects, and everybody wanted to be little baby 2001s and do their own slit scan and do their own special effects sequences, things like that. But it does bring its own kind of quirky, kind of anarchic, kind of youthful hippy dippy energy to it. It definitely is it's obvious that this is the work of really enthusiastic film students, and the theme song of the film is like a country music. It's a country western tune, from Benson, Arizona. Great film. I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack was only released on it was released on CD. It was released by Varese Sarabande and on vinyl, and it's just basically the soundtrack. It's just basically the movie, the audio version of the movie. It's just all this goofy sound effects and other stuff, and then they released it on CD. And then I think recently Alan Howarth, John Carpenter's collaborator, he did Halloween 2 and 3 and They Live and Prince of Darkness and a bunch of other films with. I think Alan Howarth recently tried to go back and re-record the soundtrack. And I think that was released, and I've seen that. But yeah, the re-recording, and I've listened to audio clips of that, but it's not as good as just that original soundtrack album, which is again hokey and full of sound effects, and it's just basically the optical track of the film just laid out on vinyl and CD. So a good film. A quirky, fun movie. One of the first films that I got on that I bought on VHS. Yeah, Dark Star.